Beach. It's a tradition. People have been doing it in Volusia County for over 100 years.
There's strong feeling about the beach.
Coming to the beach means something different for a lot of different people.
Culture-wise, people come to the beach because it's safe. It's relatively inexpensive. The access, you can't beat the access. It's not a private beach. I mean, there's some areas where you can't drive, obviously, but
I think beach culture, if you had to define it, I would say it's probably about relaxation for everybody in whatever way they feel it gives it to them.
You see what the surf report was supposed to be for today?
2 to 3.
Yeah.
Fair to poor. Poor to fair.
Poor to fair.
The other day it said don't bother. I'm not even shitting you.
Go down there with the children. I had a pickup truck at the time.
You could drive on the beach 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There was no toll. And you could drive from the jetty right on up to Norman by the Sea.
And it goes to show you, a lot of it comes down to that personal feeling of the beach.
People are concerned because a lot of beach driving has been taken away over the years.
Well, the goal was to keep the cars on the beach.
The wonderful thing about beach driving is it's related to access. So I hope my children, their children, future generations will be able to continue to enjoy the tradition of beach driving in Volusia County.
The beach driving debate isn't an original situation. There are plenty of other examples around the nation and probably around the globe where the same type of arguments are happening. Just in America, since 1977, the debate rages on as to whether nuclear power is worth the environmental risks. Fracking for natural gases in the heartland of America at the expense of the purity of the water in the aquifer. Should the view of oceanfront be sacrificed for harvesting the wind a couple miles off the coast? Should we drill for oil in a national Arctic wildlife reserve? All of these national issues highlight two very important but distinctly different ideals in America. The first, capitalism. We're raised from a very early age to believe that any man can pull himself up by his bootstraps and start his own business, make his own product, and make something of himself. It's an American ideal. We're also taught from a very early age to value nature. There are important lessons to be learned in nature, ones that can't be taught in a classroom. Out in open space, culture is developed. It's a blank canvas for the mind to create on, and for society to create on. That's why this fight, this place, my backyard, is a It started in the 60s, when it became more popular for college students to, instead of going home, travel somewhere else over spring break. They came to sunny Florida. Some came to Daytona Beach, but most started going to Fort Lauderdale. In the mid to late 80s, Fort Lauderdale couldn't handle the amount of college students coming through their town.
it just got so big that they clamped down on it.
Fort Lauderdale didn't want spring break to be there anymore.
Eventually, they made the push all the way, and everybody started going somewhere else. And
On spring break down here anymore. Matter of fact, I went down on Good Morning America with the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, and I said, send it up to Daytona Beach because I got the #1 police department in the state of Florida, and we can handle it.
it was in the late 80s when spring break really started developing huge here.
And then throughout the 80s, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. As Fort Lauderdale kind of shooted away, we picked it up, and it got huge, absolutely huge, hundreds of thousands.
Let's face it, it was a mass party here for 5 and 6 weeks at a time.
Yeah, I mean, this was the spring break capital of the country for years.
Daytona was the destination for 3 or 4 years.
Hundreds of thousands of people flocked to the beach where you could drive 24/7. There was a lot of people and a lot of cars.
Well, something's got to happen. Well, 89 came along.
It was, in general, it was complete mayhem.
A lot of people. I mean, we're talking 200,000 and 300,000, per week.
During this budding time for Volusia County, cities each ran their own beach. It was as if the city lines were drawn out towards the ocean.
It's vastly different from individual cities running their own little section of the beach. And
What you could do in Daytona, you might not be able to do in Daytona Beach Shores or vice versa. There was always that magic line.
Each city thought the beach served a different role.
The city of Daytona Beach Shores put up a beach toll.
The shores also set up barricades at either end of their beach.
And what happened was there was an outrage in the Daytona Beach area.
Keeping all that aside, though, there was still the problem with all these people and all these cars.
Unfortunately, when you have millions of people that visit Volusia County beaches, you're always going to have a certain number of tragedies, injuries, and problems.
More and more accidents kept happening, and people began to sue the cities.
And as a result, the cities were concerned about trying to get insurance to cover the municipalities against potential lawsuits.
If you can't buy insurance, you got to be very careful. And particularly with that ruling, it said in the future you could be held liable. And that court, that ruling said you're lethal. You, Daytona Beach, are lethal.
A county charter amendment was proposed.
That was the beginning of saying, hey, the county has it.
And as a result, the people voted in favor of county control of Volusia County beaches.
There was no longer could Daytona Beach have the beach without insurance.
In the sand, so the county consolidated and took over all the...
After the county took over, the goal was to have a more streamlined operation on the beaches in Volusia County.
The beach through the county. What the idea of this was, by a county takeover of the beaches, you would not have any barricades on city limits.
However, once the county took over, they imposed beach tolls and added no driving zones due to state law.
So that's what started the tolls, is the county trying to offset those costs. And, it was basically a user fee is what it turned out to be.
The Supreme Court ruling was a major factor in all of this. And that happened immediately when it was still under the cities. Night driving came to an end.
But having one centered beach patrol and one center for regulation didn't make any of the old problems go away. There were still a lot of people and a lot of cars, and if anything, more problems arose.
More than 3 dozen people have been struck by vehicles on Volusia County beaches in the past 5 years, some fatally. And now the county is facing 2 new lawsuits. The most recent serious accident sent 33-year-old Aaron Joint of Kansas to the hospital with head injuries. 4-year-old Aiden Patrick of Deltona was struck and killed in July of last year. West 2's Greg Fox reports both victims' families claim the county is putting your safety at risk. He has the late-breaking.
So where does that leave us? Well, this is still an area, although it may not look like it, under siege. Case law and legal precedent are being set, not just in the Florida Supreme Court, but in the United States Supreme Court as we speak. The difficulty with deciding these cases is that they're in new territory. There are no prior decisions for the judges to look at. No one's really decided who owns the beach, or who's liable. I mean, it's still up in the air. Using the legal theory of a chain novel, These judges are writing the first few introductory chapters. They're shaping the way that the beach is going to be run in the future. The point is that we're still in a place where the public can have a voice. We're still in an early enough stage where this law is being shaped and framed to where public input weighs very heavily. We can still have a say in who owns and who can access beach land. Am I going to tell you how to vote? No. But am I going to waste this? Not a chance.
And finally, did you see what I think I saw? A determined and almost fierce pursuit of fun, as though it were about to be outlawed or go out of style. I think it's dangerous to generalize too broadly about these children of ours. I would suspect, however, that they are neither as wicked as we fear nor as good as we might wish. I think it may also be said that this is not the happy breed we were. We may have been the last of them. Depression, wars, Cold War, and the nuclear age may have been sufficiently powerful forces to alter attitudes, if not genes. Of course, the mobility of these youngsters is incredible, and I dare say we shall have to adjust to that. With the greatest of ease, they migrate to football games in Seattle, Houston, New Haven, or New Orleans, and head south in the spring. As our scientists bombard the moon and our astronauts prepare to invade it, these youngsters have acquired an inflated sense of geography. If the world were a happier place, it would be their oyster. The reasons people are down here are escape and fear. I don't think there's one fellow here right now that's not scared. And another said, I'm scared to death.